Hey guys, today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts, opinions, and feels on Miss Mayhem by Rachel Hawkins. This is the second book in I believe what is called the Rebel Belle trilogy. I'm not sure if that's the official name, but that's what I think this trilogy is called. I have a review on the first book, Rebel Belle, if you'd like to check out that. I will leave a link to that video down below. But today I'm going to be talking about the sequel here, Miss Mayhem. I was super happy that this book started off with a rundown on what happened in book 1 because I completely forgot basically everything that happened in book 1. It's been like 2 years since I've read the first book, and so it was nice to have that kind of rundown before you dive into the sequel. It was super handy dandy. I will say though that I didn't necessarily love this sequel. The first book was just packed with a super interesting plot line and unique characters, and it was just a lot of fun, and there was so much humor in that book. But in this book I just felt like the plot really suffered. This definitely felt to me like a filler book. That's just my opinion. If you disagree, that's a-okay. But this book just totally felt like a bridge to get to book 3. We definitely still have the unique and fun characters. I love Harper, David, Ryan, and Bee, but the plot line in this one just seemed to suffer. It wasn't as exciting and as interesting as book 1 was. And I just really didn't like the direction the plot went in this book. And I also feel like the humor within this book just didn't feel as natural as it did in book 1. I don't know if my tastes have just changed and I just didn't enjoy this book as much because of that, or maybe I just need to face the facts and realize this book was not as good as book 1. I still have high hopes for this trilogy though, and I think that the last book is going to be fantastic, but this book just wasn't my fave. So that's all I can say non-spoilery wise. I'm now going to be jumping into a spoilery section, so if you have not read Rebel Belle, if you have not read Miss Mayhem, then do not continue watching this video. If you have read Rebel Belle and Miss Mayhem, then stick along and let's talk about Miss Mayhem. Let's talk spoilers, let's talk spoilers, let's talk spoilers, yeah. So we open up this story with Harper going to this frat party and she's on a mission, and we find out that her and David have been attempting to change the future for some of their friends. So like David sees into the future and he sees something terrible, so Harper and David go and try to change the future. We have this term that Harper is using throughout this book and it drives me nuts when she says boyfie. I'm just like, can you not use that? I was hoping it wasn't going to be used throughout the whole book, but guess what? It was used throughout the whole book. At least I wasn't the only one that hated it. David hated it too. I was kind of surprised that the main focus wasn't on finding Bee within this book and finding out what was going on with her and how to get her back. But instead, Harper and David are messing with some fate. So Harper is trying to prevent her friend Abigail from meeting this frat boy because David saw into the future and saw that Abigail gets with this guy and they don't have a happy future together, so they're gonna try to mess with that future and make it not happen. I loved the whole confrontation between Harper and the frat boy and the fact that she called him Frattenstein. I just thought that that was fantastic. She basically tells him off and he's just like, "You're gross. Oh, burn, fratty frat boy, burn. You just scorched the heck out of Harper." Talk about being bad at comebacks. I mean, I'm pretty bad at comebacks, but that was like the ultimate low. If somebody tells you off and all you can say is, "You're gross, you're losing at life, I'm sorry." Mr. Fratty Boy lays a hand on Harper and that's the end of that. Harper takes that sucker out. So Harper gets to David and he's having this like crazy oracle meltdown, and Abigail and her twin like see him freaking out and they're like, "What the heck is happening here?" And Ryan comes along and tries to help the situation, and I was kind of annoyed at Harper and like how she kind of refused to accept Ryan's help in this book. Harper was like trying to get him to stay away, and I totally get the fact that like he's her ex and they don't necessarily want to be around each other, but like you gotta be together, you're a trio, you're supposed to help each other out, you're a team, we're on each other's team. Without Ryan, things might get a little bit salty. They need Ryan to complete this trio to make this perfect oracle magical team thing we've got going on here. This is the team in my hand. I was just a little bit frustrated with Harper, but that's just true to her character. Like, that's just who she is. She's stubborn like that. And she doesn't want other people helping her. She's a take charge kind of person. She's definitely a leader. David reveals that his visions are big and clear and that he saw the effers. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but just the way it sounds is funny to me. Effers? Yeah, okay. So what do they end up doing? They go to the effers. okay guys, okay. And they walk into the Evers headquarters without any kind of armor, anything to protect them. They're just going in there with a clean slate, nothing, they got nothing. And I'm just like, what are you guys thinking? What are you actually thinking? Stop, turn around, go get some weapons, and then come back and approach the Evers. So we meet this Alexander guy who was like one of the head Effers, I guess. More like fishy Effer. It's revealed that David has the ability to read people's minds. And I love that Harper's first thought is, ugh, I'm in no way to have a boyfriend that can read my thoughts every time we hold hands. God bless you, Harper. Then we get a little plot twist, and it goes a little something like this. Ayo, Harper, you ain't actually a paladin. Say what? I just found this to be so ridiculous. Like, freaking Harper is a paladin. She was a paladin once the janitor guy transferred his powers onto Harper. Like, she became a paladin in that moment. I just felt like this was such a cop-out. I was like, really? Really? She hasn't earned the right to call herself a paladin. Okay. So we find out that in order for her to become a true paladin, that she must complete the Perismos. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm just taking a guess at it. So there's basically like 3 big trials that she must complete in order to fully become a paladin, which I just find is so stupid. She got the powers when they were transferred to her. Why does she have to complete these crazy tasks? It just doesn't make any sense. There was a part when Alexander used the word penetrate and I was just like, ugh. That word choice. Why did we have to use that word? And then literally the next line, Harper was like, please don't say the word penetrate. We're on the same wavelength, Harper. Then we got another plot twist, and we've got frickin' B just hanging out in the office door. Like, what? 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 Again, I kind of found this to be a little bit of a cop-out, but I wasn't expecting it, so I guess it kind of works. But I just went into this book expecting them to like spend the whole book just trying to get B back from frickin' Blythe. But no, they just popped B right there in the door. Oh, and by the way, B is also a paladin now. She's a true paladin. So if Harper completes the trials, she will become the true paladin and B will lose her powers. But if Harper doesn't complete the tasks, then B will take over the role of being the paladin for David. I really felt bad for B in this book because she comes back, but people aren't fully remembering her, and I just felt so bad for her. I kind of had a hard time wrapping my mind around the fact that people weren't remembering her though, because her parents remembered her. Why can't other people remember her? Like, I know that it was said that like, oh, she has a stronger bond with her parents so they remember her more clearly, but like, just didn't really make sense to me. So we have the scene where Ryan calls Harper and he's like freaking out and she comes to his house, only to find that Ryan had been using his powers on Mary Beth, and now she's non-responsive. I found that just a little bit weird and uncomfortable that Ryan was using his powers on his girlfriend. Can you like not though, Ryan? I felt like there were points throughout this book where David just proved himself to be a terrible boyfriend. I really like David, but I just felt like he was such a bad boyfriend throughout this book. Like when B and Harper are practicing using the baton and B just kind of blows Harper out of the water and David's just like, wow, B is so much better than you, Harper. I'm just like, David, you do not say that to your girlfriend. You're literally just asking for her to be angry at you, David. So the first trial that Harper must complete happens in her school. The fire alarm goes off. Harper freaking takes down her principal in order to go find David because the school is on freaking fire. Harper finds David in the dark room, and of course they decide to have an argument right then and there when the freaking school is on fire. What are you doing? The school is freaking lit! We find out that Alexander has taken away Ryan's abilities, so he's not able to help Harper kind of through these trials, and so the principal can fully remember being taken out by Harper. So Harper's in big trouble with Mr. Principal, man. That part I just found so hysterical because that's just like something that Harper would never do, but she like had to do it because she's a paladin and she had to protect David, but Harper is such a goody-goody two-shoes and would never do anything like that, but she just had to take him out. So she has to like go and get out of it and get out of getting in trouble. Another thing that Alexander reveals to David is that Harper and Ryan have been stifling David's visions. Thanks a lot, Alexander! Way to drive a wedge into their relationship. How rude. The thing is, Harper and Ryan totally should have been honest with David about what they were doing, but it's not like what they were doing was that bad of a thing. Like, they were doing it to help David, so we didn't have like these crazy meltdowns. I really wasn't going into this book expecting David and Harper to break up. That was really shocking to me. And I know that their relationship isn't perfect throughout this book, but what relationship is perfect? You're lying if you say there is one out there, because there's not. I freaked out when Harper finds Ryan and B making out. I knew it, I totally knew it, and I totally ship it. I am so down for Ryan and B getting together. I love that Harper confides in her Aunt Jewel and kind of just tells her everything, and that Aunt Jewel just kind of swallows all that information and she's like, yeah, okay, So I will process this. I love that she takes Harper shopping in order for it to kind of like settle in her mind. I think better when I'm shopping, and you've given me a lot to think about. There were so many things about this ending that just really confused me. I just felt like weren't explained enough or weren't really fleshed out enough. So David's visions are becoming so powerful, and Alexander's spell has kind of worn off on David. So Alexander ends up canceling the promosis, the trials. I can't pronounce that word, gosh dang it. David runs away, and because of that, they've all lost their powers? Like, what? I'm so confused by this. Like, how do you just lose your powers because David has run off? Is it because of the wards? Like, I'm so confused by this ending. I need to like reread it or something because it went over my head, went completely over my head. And maybe more things will be explained in book 3, but I don't know. Like, I'm just so confused. I love how at the end they're just like, oh, well, I guess we're just gonna live normal lives. You don't live normal lives after something crazy like that happens to you, okay? You can't. No. So I guess in book 3 we're just going to be looking for David. Like, is that what's going to be happening? I literally have no idea because I kind of went in to Miss Mayhem with expectations that we were going to be searching for B the whole time and like trying to take down Blythe. But like Blythe doesn't even make an appearance in this book, and they just plopped B in the middle of this book, and I don't even know what to expect for book 3. I have no expectations. I don't know what's going to happen. But either way, those are all my thoughts, opinions, and feels on Miss Mayhem by Rachel Hawkins. You guys should let me know down below what you thought of this book. If you read the ending and you completely understand it, please explain it to me in full down below because I want to understand this ending, but it just kind of went over my head. Also, let me know down below what your favorite moment was from this book, who's your favorite character, what did you think about this sequel? Let me know down below. Also, if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so click subscribe if you want to be notified for when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, chew. So we find out that in order, I kind of had a hard time wrapping my mind around. The fire alarm goes off. I knew we'd have a shift in the dynamic.